Welcome home, brave heroes and brave Kylords alike. I am Ash, this is Ash Quest, and we are continuing Tome Tuesday, where we read and play game books, this time continuing our adventure with Lone Wolf Flight from the Dark by Joe Dever, part of the Kai series. We, with 7 endurance points, picking up from our last passage, 193, just attracted the attention of several Doom Wolves and are deciding whether or not to fight them. And I do believe I will take this chance to fight them. We're going to start off with something adventurous, with something action-packed. We're turning to 253 to fight the rest of the Doom Wolves. Before we begin with the combat and the subsequent reading, I'd just like to remind everybody, tips and tricks on how to do different things are appreciated as long as there's no spoilers. I do wish to enjoy this book again and again in the future, and I don't commit a whole lot to memory, so I'm not going to be remembering the passages and things like that, but I may try out new character builds and the like, which is part of the appeal of this series for me. So please, no telling me what would have lied on a different, separate path that I didn't take as far as a choice or anything like that. Onward. The Doom Wolves are soon on you, and you must fight them one at a time. Doom Wolf 1 has a combat skill of 13 and an endurance of 24. This is going to be a gauntlet, but I said action, and I meant action. We'll set our opponent's endurance points on these dice. That's 24, and we will begin rolling for a round of combat. Can I win? I may need to take my potion. We'll find out. The first roll is a 2, one of many, many, many low rolls in this campaign, and is almost assuredly the beginning of the end for me. With a combat skill of 13, and my combat skill being 17 plus 2 because of my weapon skill with a weapon that I actually have, which is the Warhammer, and plus another 2 with Mind Blast, that puts me at 21. So we actually have a plus 9 ratio advantage. And that means that all of our results will be here in the plus 9 and 10 column. And with that roll of 2, I'm going to lose 3 endurance points. The enemy is going to lose 9. The 3 endurance points, that's not promising to me at all. That is actually quite troublesome. That puts me at 4. And the enemy is barely scratched. Barely scratched. Not even half of his health down. Another round of combat. Let's go. A 5. This is a little bit better. This is a little bit better. We're still on the lower half of the die. For some reason, this die does not like me. The enemy is going to lose 11, and I'm going to lose 2. And that's going to put me down to 2 endurance points left. Now he should have 4 endurance points left. We're going to lose our health first before he does in this next roll, which is a 6. And according to the results of the combat results table, I lose 1 endurance point while the enemy loses 14. Unfortunately, that puts me at 1 endurance point. I win the combat, but I have to fight 3 more Doom Wolves. So with Doom Wolf 1 down, we now go onward to attack Doom Wolf 2. Has an endurance of 23 and a combat skill of 14. We'll set up our dice again, but if I lose even 1 endurance point, Lone Wolf is dead, and I'll have to restart and possibly rethink my choices up to this point. That is an 8. The 8 in the combat results table means that Lone Wolf, who actually has a different advantage this time because this Doom Wolf has 1 more combat skill. I am actually... No, I'm still at plus 7. I'm still plus 7, and will remain so for a while. This roll of 8 means that my character loses nothing, but the enemy loses 16 endurance points. This is a much better result than those prior. So with our 16 carried out, we are ready to continue this battle. That is a 9. That's going to wipe out the rest of the endurance points that this Doom Wolf has. And being a higher number than the one before means I will not lose any endurance points. I still have my 1 endurance point, and we are on to Doom Wolf 3. We still have a +7 advantage in combat skill ratio. So we now battle this next wolf. It has 22 endurance points, and we will set up its health with the dice yet again, and onward we attack. This die is finally showing some mercy. And there's my 1. There is the 1 that I knew I was going to roll eventually, which claims the life of Lone Wolf. The third and fourth Doom Wolf get to feast on his bones. We have lost this fight. Back to the beginning of our save point. I would like to continue this path, and I'd like to try a second time with this battle. I really want to see if it's possible to get rid of all of the rest of the Doom Wolves. So, once more, with a combat skill of 13 versus 21, we are in our advantage table of +7, +8, and we are going to roll for combat again. Our first bout of combat is as follows. A 1. Fantastic. We're not doing mulligans because I have a save system in place. I'm going to accept whatever the result is, and the player character loses 4, which brings me down to 3. A terrible start to this battle, and almost assuredly a failure altogether. Whoops. I did say that the enemy actually also lost something, right? They actually lose 7. So we do take away 7 pips off the die and roll again. The next roll is a 6, and I am down to 3 endurance points because I had 7 and lost 4. And the result of 6 actually means that I lose 1 endurance point and the enemy loses 12. So our third round of combat follows thusly. A 5. I am now down to 2 endurance points, and a roll of 2 assures that I will lose those 2 endurance points in this battle with the first Doom Wolf, and I have perished yet again. So now I will consume the contents of this potion and get my 4 endurance points before heading into this battle for the third and final time. If I fail this last time, I will pick up from my save before, going back to 193, and I will avoid taking on the additional Doom Wolves. And this is how we are playing. So, onward once more to my first round of combat with the first Doom Wolf. Let's roll high this time. And that's a 3. That 3 is probably the 12th 3 that I've rolled this campaign. It still means that the enemy loses health. Unfortunately, it means that I lose 2 of my endurance points as well. 2 of my hard-earned endurance points recovered from the potion. I'm down to 9, and the enemy is down by 9. So, health has been reduced. They have 15 left. We shall continue. Second round of combat, let's go. That's a 3. I'm done with this die. This die is going into the trash. That's going to be another 2 endurance points. I have that memorized now, and the enemy loses another 9. Absolutely terrible rolls in all 3 of these combats. And the next one's a 0, which means the enemy is automatically killed, and I lose no endurance points. However, that was going to happen no matter what. You can't get out of this punishment die. I will not let you. I'm tired of the 3s. So, we will now enter combat with the second Doom Wolf and my 7 endurance points. This is exactly where I started before drinking the potion. And I haven't beaten 3 wolves yet, so I think that my chances here are very slim. But then again, I thought that from the beginning, so nothing new has been learned at this time. We're going to take on the second Doom Wolf, who has 23 endurance points and 1 more point of combat skill, but that does not matter. We are at the same ratio. Let's go. If I could roll another one of those zeros, that would be fine. Or we can roll a 3. We can roll another 3. That's fine too. That's just great. We're down to 5 endurance points, and our enemy has lost 9. The easiest way I know is to take the 6 and reduce another 6 to the 3, and then go from here. Another round of combat with my 5 endurance points. Let's roll another 3, shall we? Let's do it. Look at this. This is not some fancy video editing trick. That's another 3. This battle is not meant to be. This battle is meant to 3. That's what's going on. Or it's the dice tray. I'm actually not sure. We're going to turn the dice tray a little differently, and we're going to roll the dice again for our next round of combat. It's a 6. It's a 6. I was about to explode. It is a 6. We've lost 1 endurance points. We're down to 2. The enemy has lost the remainder of theirs. And we are ready to face our third wolf, who has 22 endurance points. I think that I shouldn't be fighting wolves. I think I should have dominion over wolves because I am Lone Wolf. I'm a member of the Kai Lords. The wolf is like our mascot animal. I carved a wolf in 2nd Kai grade. This next one has 22 endurance points, so we set this to 4, and we continue again. If only it were any other number besides a 1, 2, or 3. It could be a 4, it could be a 5. I'd be perfectly happy. We're fighting this third wolf now with a very low amount of endurance points. We do still have hope of winning if we can roll a couple of really high numbers on this 10-sided die. Let's begin our first round of combat with this third Doom Wolf. Whoops, that doesn't count. Into the tray, it's an 8. And an 8 means we don't lose any endurance points, and that the enemy loses 16. That I will take. We'll take away these 2 and reduce this one by 4, and roll again. That I will take. I will take an 8. Can we do it again? No, we cannot. We have rolled a 5, which unfortunately results in the player character losing 2 endurance points and killing them. For the 3rd time, I have fallen victim to the Doom Wolves, and so, by my own rules, I cannot continue combat with this enemy. I have to choose a different path, which is fine, because from my saved game, I will not have drank the potion, and I will still have 7 endurance points, and I will now avoid the oncoming wolves. I still killed the first one with the yak on its back. Gackety gack, time to turn back. Now, I wish to escape into the woods. I will turn to 126. If this results in an instant death, friends, I will allow myself to fight the dire wolves one more time. But if I cannot beat them, I may have to consider this game lost. 126. You spur the prince's horse to a gallop and race him deeper into the forest. This is a fine war horse, agile and strong, by far the best horse you have ever ridden. Although the ground is a tangle of briars and roots, he never once falters. The yaks are soon left far behind. When you judge it safe to do so, you slacken the pace and then bring your mount to a halt, allowing him a few minutes to rest. The light has faded fast and night is almost upon you. If you wish to press on ahead, turn to 46. If you wish to bear left, the same direction as the path you left far behind, then turn to 143. Let us press on ahead. We'll go to 46. I think 143 was death. Anyway, I think we've already died that way. You have covered about 2 miles. When the trees ahead begin to thin out, you can see a lake ahead and a small wooden shack perched on the edge of its shoreline. A cloaked and hooded man steps out from the shack and approaches you. As he comes nearer, he offers to row you and your horse across the lake for a fee of 2 gold crowns. If you have the Kai discipline of 6th sense, which I do not, turn to 296. If you accept the offer, turn to 246. And if you refuse and try to ride around the lake, turn to 90. I've never approached this section before, so we're going to make a save spot here on page 46, or rather, section 46, excuse me. With our 7 endurance points, we have 2 choices, really. We can accept the offer and pay 2 crowns, or we can refuse and ride around the lake. So let us pay the 2 crowns and see what happens. I'm feeling as though it's possible there's a lake monster that I will be forced to fight, but after my grand failure with the wolves, I think that it would be a way to save face, to win a bout of combat against a sea creature, or a lake creature, rather. We will accept the offer and turn to 246. This may result in my instant death as well. The cloaked man ushers you aboard a wide, flat-bedded ferry boat, and then he pushes it away from the shore. When the boat reaches a point near the middle of the lake, the man stops rowing and stands up. He laughs menacingly, and then pulls back the hood of his cloak to reveal his true self. He is a Drakkar, and he intends to murder you here in the middle of the lake. He unsheaths the sword hidden inside his cloak and points its sharp black blade towards your throat. You must fight this enemy to the death. Here he is. It's not a lake monster, but a Drakkar. Don't worry, for this enemy is not immune to Mind Blast, and only has a combat skill of 15 and an endurance of 23. I am going to fight this creature. So, we will once again set up our dice, representing the health of this enemy. That's 24, we just need to remove 1, and now we have the 23. With his combat skill of 15 versus my overall combat skill of 21, that's the 17 plus the 2 from the Warhammer plus the 2 from Mind Blast, to which he is not immune. We have an overall difference of 7, and so yet again, we will be referring to this column here. This column here is where our results will be. Let us roll the 10-sided die and see if it's a little bit friendlier when we are trying to fight this Drakkar versus the wolves. And our first round of combat results in a 3. A 3 means I lose 2 while the enemy loses 9. So I shall lose my 2. It could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. The enemy is losing 9 after all. Easiest way to deal with that, take this 5 and 4 off that 6. And now, our second round of combat. Please, for anything, just not a 3. It's a 3. And so 5 turns into a 3. I have 3 endurance points left. And he loses 9. So that brings him to 5. And if I roll low enough in this next turn, I could die. I could definitely die. If I roll a 1 or a 2, I could die. So I have a 1 in 5 chance, realistically, of perishing. Of course, I perish. It's a 2. I have lost my life. We'll put another skull here. These skulls don't represent each death. They represent the section in which I've died. So 3 different sections now have bested me time and time again. I will not let this rest. I must destroy this enemy, and so I'm going to restart combat full knowledge that I have perished in this battle. And I will give him, once again, his 23 endurance points. And this time, I'm going to consume my potion, giving me an additional 4 EP, bringing me up to 11. And if I win the combat against this enemy, my potion will be gone. It will be consumed. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It's a 5. 5 is terrible, but it's still better than a 3. I lose 2 endurance points, and the enemy loses 11. According to that result, I have 9 endurance points left from my adventure, and the enemy just loses both of these dice. So, once again, we are fighting this terrible Drakkar who has dragged us in the middle of the lake to try and murder us with his black steel. Rolling again. It's a 3. And that brings me down to the 7 body points that I had previously. And we'll take 9 off of his total. With these terrible rolls, I can only imagine that the final fights in the book have to be good results. They have to be. I have rolled more 3s in this video, and there's the 0 that I need to take him out. I needed that 0 at the beginning of this fight. Not now, at the beginning of the fight. We have murdered the Drakkar, and now I can turn to 197. And upon doing so, friends, this is where I will save for. That is time. We will pick up from 197 in our next episode of Tome Tuesday, which will be next Tuesday, imagine that, and see where this adventure shall take us next. I may play a bit more conservatively now because my endurance points are very low, and I am not using any more healing because I've already used 10 endurance points worth of healing. I did call that easy mode, but I wanted to take a bit of a challenge because my combat skill was so high. Friends, thank you so much once again for watching. Please comment anything you'd like down below, and I will see you in the next episode. Until then, have a great rest of your day. And now onward, brave heroes.